What's up, everybody? My name is Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic, and I'm hanging out with you on a Monday. I think at least it's a Monday. I've lost track of time, space, and everything else. It's nice to see you there. Uh, we had an incredible weekend of the paranormal. Saturday was International Ghost Hunting Day, if you didn't know that. So if you like ghost hunting, we did it this weekend. And it seems like all over the country, there were big amped up things happening. The veil is getting thin, and now spirits are going to come through in a big way. So, what does that mean to you? It means that you should be paying attention, closer attention, to the people that you love. Through. And we have a special guest.
Hello.
What's
Oh,
up? How are you?
good. How are you?
Fantastic. Welcome to an hour of craziness. I think this is Kelsey. She is the haunted detective, and she had a crazy weekend of the paranormal in Texas, as I had one in New York. So she's been dying to tell me what happened over the weekend. Um,
I've literally
and,
called him on the phone like 20 times, like,
and
Scotty!
since I have a crazy schedule where I sleep half the day and I'm up all night, I just miss phone calls. It is what it is. So I had a cancellation for the hour. So then I said I'm gonna hop on TikTok, and then I was like, oh, this might be the perfect opportunity to hear a spooky story. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. So what happened this weekend?
Oh my God. Okay. Whew. Some crazy stuff went down, and apparently it was just like everything was heightened for everyone this weekend. And I'll get into why I say that. So, for those of you who don't know me, I also see dead people. I'm not as evolved, or I don't, trained is the wrong word. I haven't honed my skills as much as Scotty, and he's actually been helping me a lot with that. Because I've had like instances where I've seen like a shadow person in the middle of the road and almost crashed my car. Like, oh damn. Um, anyways, I tend to attract this stuff more when I'm in a location. And I always tell my friends, if you have never experienced something paranormal, just hang out with me and you'll experience it. And that's always been true. So I grew up in haunted house, whatever, yada yada yada. So, doing ghost investigation this weekend, we went to Goatman's Bridge, we went to Legacy Park, and then over to Jefferson, the most haunted town in Texas. Which the most haunted hotel in Texas is also in Jefferson, called the Jefferson Hotel, or the historic Jefferson Hotel. And we, went into it with moderate expectations, because anytime you go into an experience that involves a haunting, you kind of need to be like, okay, I need to accept that we might not experience anything. And we don't want to keep high expectations and then, freak ourselves out, and like you hear a bird chirping, you're like, oh my God, was that a person? Something like that. So we went to Jefferson. As soon as you get like 20 miles outside of town, there's just this weird feeling. The best way I can describe it, and me and my friend felt it at the same time, we were in two separate cars. I basically called her and I said, do you feel that? She's like, yeah, I feel it. It's like as soon as I got off the highway, I was like, yeah, same. We both started feeling it at the same time, 20 miles outside of town. And it creepy crawlies. That's how I would describe it. It was like creepy crawlies. I wanted to turn all the lights on in my car, and my dog was on edge as well. So we get to the hotel, and already, like, here, I can do green screen, right? Yeah. Um Already, like, the hotel is filled with antiques, and a lot of them are haunted, and you can tell that just from, where do I have pictures of the hallway? This was the room we were staying in.
Looks creepy. It already, like, anytime you see a bed like that in a room like that in like a movie, you know you're gonna have some sort of terrifying experience. Did you check under the bed before you got in there?
Oh God, no, we didn't. I didn't even think.
You didn't even think of it? Well, now it'll be on your mind for next time. Rule number
Yeah.
one, folks, of surviving any scary experience is always check under the bed.
Yep. Uh-huh. Next time. So, we get into the hotel filled with antiques. It's just like a wild, wild experience. Can I do green screen video on this? Because I actually have videos of the hallway. But, anyways, my dog is the calmest dog ever. She's a service animal for PTSD, and she's trained not to bark. And, I've left her home alone. I've left her in the car sometimes for short periods of time when it's cool outside, when I lived in California. Not a barky dog. We tried to leave her alone in the room and she started flipping out. She was barking and screaming and barking and whatever. So that already right off the bat, kind of weird. We start to like walk around the hotel and stuff and we're exploring, and I am walking down the hallway. Liz is upstairs. If you don't know her, her username is literally Lizzie. And I see like a white blur, like a woman in a white dress almost. It like felt like through here,
Right.
but it was a white blur in real life, just go whoosh, right past me down the hallway. And I was like, oh, okay, that's settling. There are cameras everywhere because of the valuable antiques. It's just stacked and stacked and stacked in the hallways. Upstairs, there's a motion activated doll. Her head turns because there's a camera in her mouth, and it's not only for security measures, but he's like, I want to give the ghost tours, like a good scare or whatever.
I saw that doll in your video, and it's a creepy doll to start with. And why would anybody have a motion activated doll? Is it for ghost hunting, or is it a toy that they kind of repurposed?
He's an engineer, so he repurposed it to be security cameras and just to
Okay.
scare people.
Because I was like, I have a daughter and she's 5, and I wouldn't want to put a motion activated doll in her room because I wouldn't want her being freaked out in the middle of the night. Sure, it's cute while you're playing Tea Party with it in the middle of the day, but at nighttime when that head starts bobbling back and forth, you might have a little bit of a different experience. So that's interesting that he did that for the tour.
When I asked him, he said it was specifically for the ghost tours because he wanted to give them a little scare. But the thing is, the doll doesn't activate. And I did this before and after unless you're right in front of it. The camera has to pick up movement.
So
And
that's interesting that you had that experience and you have something that tests like that. While we were at the Shanley Hotel over the weekend, we were using something called a flux, and it just has 2 lights on it, and it's also motion activated. And you have to get very close for it to activate. And there was a time when we were having a lot of activity, and we kept turning the sensor sensitivity way down to the point where you'd almost have to cover it for it to activate, and it just kept going off. So a very similar experience.
yeah, so for those who didn't see the video, I only have 3 people in here because I never live stream anymore. But for those of you who should I just come in and join as like a little box on your screen? Is that easier? Because then
No,
people can see your full face.
I like this.
Okay, just checking. Um, so okay, I it was nighttime. The lights were out. There was a quiet time, so I'm live streaming. I have another medium on live stream with me. Her name is Feathers from Angels, and she's also very talented and a very good medium. And so we're walking around and I point the camera into one of the rooms where a little boy drowned, and there's actually like evidence that this happened. He drowned in the bathtub, and guests were seeing there was a family that kept walking past the that room and seeing him, and they didn't know that story beforehand, and they ended up going up to the owner and saying, well, what the heck? And he was like, oh, by the way, um one of the other rooms at this point that had been closed before because a guest was in it was now open. He leaves the rooms open and like kind of roped off with like that red velvet rope that they use at museums, so you can just look inside them because they're all themed.
Right.
And so basically I look inside this room, I point the camera inside, and through, my mind's eye, my third eye, I see like a tall, dark figure standing in that room. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just get like tingles down my arm, and Feathers goes, something tried to shove you. As I go, oh, I got tingles. And she's like, yeah, I was trying to shove you. So then I look down the hallway towards where the doll is. The doll is in front of the doll room, naturally, right?
Mhm.
And I look down the hallway, and there's just like the same figure that I saw standing at the end of the hallway. So I start walking towards it. And as I'm like maybe 300, 400 feet away from the doll, her head moves. So whatever was down there was coming to meet me in the middle. And as I'm asking questions, the doll's head is moving, and it's moving very fluidly. Like it's almost like someone's taking her head and going like and moving it,
Right.
because the animatronics in the doll, it moves like kind of like that, and not like a woo, like a full circle. It's like a creaky creak, whatever. Um, so already that's a little different and a little weird. But we ended up going to do an investigation in our room. We basically walked around and was like, anything that wants to talk is invited to come back to the room with us and like have a conversation with us. And we did the
Hmm.
Estes method. So Liz went under. And for those of you who don't know what the Estes method is, you put a blindfold on, noise canceling headphones on, you plug it into the spirit box, and with the volume all the way up so you can't hear anything but what's coming through on the spirit box. And a lot of investigators will say like they take the spirit box seriously when full sentences or like more than one or two words comes through. So I was having first a conversation with a spirit that was like, I'm working. I'm like, okay, it's kind of rude for you to just like shrug me off like that. He's like, I am working. And Liz will actually do the voices and the tones that she hears. And so then that spirit was like, you need to let me work. I'm working, let me work. And I was like, oh,
I wonder
okay,
what they were
interesting.
doing. Like, what's the spirit's job? And if there are actual jobs when we die, I'm not interested in that. I just want to go and relax. So, what was the spirit doing? I wonder.
No idea, because no idea. There was a very flirty middle schooler that was like, hello,
Oh, like
hi.
on the other side? I mean, shoot
Yeah,
your shot, ghost, right? What do you got
and
to
it
lose?
really did. So that was interesting. But the most interesting part is in the 1920s. So the only information we had about this was a bride named Libby hanged
Hmm.
herself in room 12, which is now room 19, over her mother's bed. But all we knew, Libby hanged herself, was a bride, killed herself. Sorry, live stream, unalived herself in her wedding dress.
Oh my gosh. And you saw a
And
woman in a white dress earlier in the day.
the day of the wedding, it happened. So that's all the information we have. We don't know why. That's all that's public on the internet. We're doing the Estes session, and we had like a spirit there that really wanted to talk to us because we had the flashlight test on as well,
Hmm.
where you turn the flashlight to like a sensitive spot where you could like touch it. Normal investigators, you just touch it and it turns on, touch again, it turns off. But the flashlight wasn't really working, so you have to like slap it, like really go like to get it to turn on, and then after that you can't get it to turn off without turning it.
Okay.
So the flashlight is turning on and off. And so we kind of set a boundary. We're like, any other spirit that's not this one right here needs to leave, because you guys are not having conversations with us, and you're just like kind of talking amongst yourself. One is having a conversation about a kangaroo. Spirit
Odd.
box will also pick up background conversations. Um, so I start having a conversation with this spirit who claims her name is Leslie, but that very easily could be Libby.
Sure.
It's very similar, and spirit box muffles things sometimes. So she's saying that she's trapped there and she doesn't know how to get out. And then the more questions I ask her, she's like, no, I actually do know how to get out. I don't really want to go. Like, I know how to move on. I just don't want to. And I ask her, well, why? And she's like, well, I feel free roaming. I'm like, oh, okay. And I ask, well, is there something you're waiting for? She goes, yeah, I'm waiting for someone. And I said, who? And she said, my love. I said, oh, okay. So, like, your husband or your fiance? And she was like, yes. And I was like, so where'd he go? And she's like, he moved on.
So she's gonna wait
So then,
forever?
like, what? I don't, but it gets interesting. But wait,
I'm in.
there's more. So every so often, she would just like kind of reset almost and go, I'm here, sort of thing. And then we would continue to have the conversation. I asked her, I was like, is there a bad spirit here? And she said, not bad, but yes. And I said, okay, so have you ever spoken to him? And she said, no, we stay away from him.
Oh, interesting.
And And so I was like, are you like friends with the other ghosts here? And she's like, yes, I have friends. And I said, so why are you hanging out with us all night? And she's like, I want company. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I basically asked her, I was like, so what's your last name? And she said, I don't know. And I said, oh, okay. What color is your hair? And me and Liz both have red hair. And she was like, red. I said, okay, your hair is red? She said, yes, it's red. I said, oh, okay. Well, do you know what color your eyes are? And then this is when like Liz started having trouble breathing, and she like kind of announced, she's like, this is Liz talking. I'm having trouble breathing. It's like a feeling, and like my eyes are her eyes started watering when we were talking about the fiance. And she's like, but now like my eyes are watering, I'm having trouble breathing. And I'm like, so you don't know what color your eyes are? And she goes, I don't remember. And then as we start talking about it more, she goes, goodbye. And I'm like, no, wait, don't go.
Don't
And
go.
every time she answered a question, the flashlight turned on. And every time she was done answering it, it turned off. So I have to watch it back. I haven't seen the videos yet. But we were having a full conversation. And then I talked to the hotel owner the next day, and I'm like, hey, so what's the deal with the bride? And he's like, oh, she unalived herself, in his own words. And this, and that, she was left at the altar, and this and that, and whatever. And I'm like, wait, what did you say about being left at the altar? He's like, yeah, her fiance chickened out and hopped on a steamboat and ran away. And I'm like, do you know what she was saying in the Estes session? And he said, no, what? And I said, she was saying she was waiting for her lover. She was waiting for her fiance, and that he moved on and left. And he was like, oh, okay.
That's crazy. So you were getting really good information through the Estes method, and then you got it confirmed later on, which is basically what we do as mediums, right? Go in with nothing,
Yeah.
and then we see what we see, and then we have somebody who has knowledge of it back up the claims.
I also I never articulated this. Also, when we were getting into her personal business, the videos kept like ending the recording.
Really? So she was like
So
trying to stop it, maybe.
yeah, so there are some gaps in our video, which really sucks. Um, but there was a point where I like had the distinct impression that she was pregnant. And then
Oh,
like I never articulated that out loud. And then the owner told me the next day that she was pregnant when she did that to
oh
herself.
my gosh.
He
You're
only
getting
said
good.
that, yeah, because I talked about, thank you, because I talked about her having red hair, and he's like, that's interesting. We don't tell the guests this, but there's a little boy that runs around with red hair, and we don't know who he is, and we knew that Libby might have been pregnant when she did that. So I'm wondering like what the actual story there is, and maybe she's talking about him.
Maybe. And
And so
maybe you having your red hair right now, maybe that person felt a little kinship or was like, there's somebody who looks a little like me. Maybe I can make contact and say hello and they'll understand me.
she said, so the owner said she didn't have red hair, and her family is the one who used to own the hotel in the 1920s. Um, it was named after her family. So he's going to be sending me the news reports. They have a newspaper clipping of it actually happening. Um, but that night, he's like, I don't know what was going on last night. The person staying in the doll room left in a hurry at 3 a.m. and left the room a disaster.
Gee,
Their
I wonder
keys
what
on the
happened.
bed. And then another person left at midnight. And I told Liz that, and Liz is like, oh my God, I totally forgot to tell you. When I was out taking pictures without you, I saw this girl, and she was on the phone, and she was sobbing, and she had all of her stuff, and she was running out of the hotel, and she was like, I have my stuff, I'm leaving, I'm going. And I'm like,
Oh, you can't run out of a haunted hotel without telling someone why. That's the worst thing in the world to do because maybe it's completely plausible. There's a family emergency and you just have to go and you just happen to be at this haunted hotel while it happens. Or maybe you saw something super terrifying in the room and it's a great story to give the hotel staff and the other guests. So if you're ever at a haunted hotel, folks who are watching, please, if you're compelled to leave in the middle of the night, let somebody know why. So that way we don't make things up or come up with stories that may not be true. But I am compelled to believe myself that she probably saw something pretty terrible and left. Like maybe one of those dolls moving on its own, or a shadow, or
So
maybe even the woman in white.
this is a different one than the doll room. There were two of them that left in a hurry last night. Two
Wow.
separate guests. So he's gonna call them and like try and figure out what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to know that story, but because I've never heard of two separate kinds of guests leaving in a hurry. So that's really something. But again, this weekend was so amped up. I've never seen anything like it. While we were at the Shanley Hotel, and I documented everything. I ran out of room. I ran out of memory cards. So many things were happening, which has never happened before. We had guests come to the Shanley Hotel up in Napanoch, New York. And the Shanley is always active, but it's never threatening or dangerous, in my opinion. So while we started off the evening with a gallery reading by me for the guests, I kept honing in on one of the guests, and his name is Zach. And a young man named a young man named Matthew came forward, and he was giving me information. He said that he was forgotten by his parents. He was dropped off somewhere, and he felt very much like an orphan, and that he also had some major issues in his life when it happened. Now, my now friend, Zach, we bonded pretty well this weekend. He told me that several weeks ago he visited Penhurst Asylum. And ever since he visited there, he's been having issues at home. He's been feeling tired and a bit depressed, and things have been happening, including seeing a shadow person. So this was the first inkling of our adventure over the weekend. What do you got?
Who did he go to Penhurst with?
I don't know. The name of his team is Purdy Paranormal, Purdy Paranormal, and you could see them here on TikTok. He's been posting up some videos. He's a super nice guy. He's a an army veteran, Afghanistan veteran. So, like myself, always give the plug, former Marine and Iraq War veteran. He is a very straightforward kind of guy. He's got a huge heart, and he was a real super nice guy. Um, but unfortunately, what happened while we were there is we went into what's called the gentleman's quarters of the Shanley Hotel. And while we were getting ready to go live to do the world's largest ghost hunt, which was hosted over on Paranormal Warehouse, right before we started, he started to say that he was having tingling on his arm. And then he said it was burning. So we lifted up his shirt, and he had a scratch coming down his arm. Then a couple minutes later, he had another one across his chest. And then a couple minutes later on the other side of his chest. A little while after that, more here, and then some down his arm. So he acquired 6 scratches within just a couple minutes, probably about 30 minutes. And while we were doing this, trying to figure out what was happening, we had another investigator running an SLS who was documenting seeing without indicating, the man working the SLS was watching it, and every time my buddy Zach said that there was something near him or he was feeling tingling or burning, that was backed up by the SLS picking up some sort of figure. And anybody who doesn't know what the SLS is, if you've ever watched Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters, it's the camera that picks up the little stick figures that, Zach usually is like, oh, there's a figure crawling up me or something like that. Only in this case, there was somebody standing there, or sitting there rather, and he was saying, oh, I feel tingling on my right side. And this figure was there. And then he would get the scratches or burned. Here's where it got very interesting for me. We had another young woman there who was investigating with us, and she was doing the Estes method. She was sitting about 5 to 6 feet away on a bed, and she was just doing the headphones. And through the headphones, it said, danger, you're next, danger. And as she said danger the second time, she said she pulled her headphones off, and she's like, somebody has to come over here. My neck is burning. And something scratched her neck so deeply that it drew blood. And for the record, both of these people have investigated before. They were wearing heavy sweatshirts, and I did not see them scratch or grab themselves. And I was videotaping with um, this rig right here, which sees really well in the dark. I have it all, so we're going to be putting up a YouTube with everything, and I probably will have Zach on, and if the young lady is up to it, talk to her about her experience. So the whole time this was happening, over about 40, 45 minutes, they kept being attacked, and I kept asking them if they wanted to stop, and they were so invested in the activity that they said, "Let's continue." So I don't know how to do the green screen like you did because I'm not as good at this. I don't think. Let me see.
So
Voice effect
look
and
down next to, so you see the match button.
yeah.
Go over to the other side. There's interact, send, and then enhance. Hit
Uh-huh.
enhance
Okay.
and then hit effects and then scroll down effects until you see green screen.
Enhance. Nope, that's not. Oh, I see. Filters. Is that right? No.
No, it's enhance. So you hit the magic
You
wand and then it
know.
goes enhance, effects, stickers, music. So it's effects.
Oh, mine won't do it. It won't give me that option. It skips the effects. Any case, anybody who wants to see it, you can go onto my TikTok and check it out. It's pretty interesting.
Do you want
So
to text it to me really quick? If it's a screenshot and I can throw it up behind me.
it's not a screenshot. It's a small little video, but it's fine. They can see it. And it's going to be up in its entirety. But here is where things got mind blowing. So anybody know what a REM pod is? It's the little device. Let me show you. I got one right here.
Little round device, you have three different colors, and if something touches it, it sends it off and makes it woo.
That was really good. Let's see how close you were. Oh, somebody left mine on. My daughter was playing with it. Okay, so this is a REM pod. You've seen it on all the Ghost shows. Mine's a little bit janky because it's old. There were three of these set up on a dining room table at the Shanley Hotel. My buddy Zach, who was getting scratched up, sat down at the table to take a break, and one of these started going off near him. So we decided to say, "Is there anybody here with us?" And the REM pod activated, and he got it to activate on command a couple times. So we set up two more, three separate REM pods across the table. And for the better part of an hour, he got all three REM pods to activate on command every single time he asked. It was answering questions, it was giving responses, it would not react almost to anybody else. Every once in a while, it would you could ask it something and some another person could ask and it would react, but barely. The only person it was reacting to was him. It's the strangest thing I have ever seen, and if there's anything I've ever seen that was paranormal, that was it. I don't have an explanation. It was unbelievable. So
I think the Shanley might be haunted.
I think that I said the same thing. I said to Kelly, the owner, I said, I think your hotel might be haunted. But more importantly, I think that he has something with him because he was the focus of all of the attacks and he was the focus of the REM pod communication, whereas the rest of us couldn't have anything really happen. I asked to be scratched several times and I was sitting right next to him. And here's the funny thing. Anytime I would get near him, the SLS stick figure would move away. So, and we have it documented. So we have the camera watching the SLS screen. Anytime I'd get near, the stick figure would dissipate and go away. If I would walk off the screen and away from him, it would come right back. So there was something that seemed to be repelled by me, but very interested in him. And I have a couple people on speed dial that I have to give a call because I have to ask them what they think about it being some sort of oppression or something worse that he may have picked up because, um, to be scratched six times in a very specific kind of way is really bad, in my
And then
opinion. I've never seen it. And the
the numbers
Shanley,
start to
every
tick.
once in a while somebody will get a little scratch. It's an easy place to be. It's just scary enough that you'll enjoy your time there, but never have I seen somebody be scratched and right in front of me. If I saw this on TV or on TikTok or on YouTube, I'd be like, these people are full of crap. This is not happening. They're planting this. It's not real. I'm sitting there with you while it's happening, and you'll see by my reaction that I was so blown away. I'm still in awe. 2 days later, I can't believe it happened.
I'm still in awe about the doll.
Yeah. So we both had these like when you were like, oh, we had crazy experiences. I was like, us too. And then I see other investigators all over the weekend had it as well. So I wonder if the ghosts on the other side who were working stepped up and were like, we're going to be super scary for all these people this weekend. We're going to give them a good start off to the spooky season.
See, the
Um,
thing is that they weren't scary at the hotel. I mean, okay, so I have two videos. Liz didn't tell me about the motion sensor, so she had me walk in front of the doll, and there's a video of me jumping 10 feet in the air, screaming and running away. And then there's another video we walked outside because there's the vanishing man that's supposed to appear in Jefferson and walk around. We couldn't find him. And there was a restaurant, and there was like if it was a machine, it would have been an even cadence. But it was like this back room, and it was open. The lights were on, and you could see through like the grated door,
Hmm.
and like one of those doors that kind of like either looks like the ones that fold, kind of, but it wasn't. And every so often, you just heard slam, slam from that room, and it would stop on like Scotty.
Yep, I'm here.
It would stop for long periods of time, and then I kind of like walked over to it, and Liz was like, "Don't walk over to it," and she's filming me. I walk over to it, and I go, "Can you make the noise again?" And then almost immediately it goes slam, and I jump 10 feet in the air, go no, and then
Holy
I
cow.
run away, and she has me on video sprinting away from the door.
Hey, listen, even the best of us run every once in a while because our fight or flight kicks up and it pushes us. So that's what happens. It's the only way to stay alive sometimes. Let's see.
I'm gonna make a video and be like, me, I love ghost hunting. Also me, those two clips.
Those two clips. That was me at Penhurst when that thing grabbed me up by the belt and pulled me and I ran like a baby. Like anything that could pick me up from the britches, that's a pretty strong entity. Even if alive or dead, I'm pretty heavy. I'm gonna see what people have some questions here. Um, can ghosts manipulate how they appear to people, like as their former human self or as a monster? So I actually mentioned this in my video while I was at the Shanley. Is yes, sometimes they forget. Oh, actually, I mentioned it in a TikTok video a couple days ago. Sometimes when humans try to come back and they try to appear to us, they may kind of forget how they were supposed to look and look kind of scary or off balance or strange, and their eyes and their mouth might be in a weird position. But also, some of the ones that have been around a while that don't want to be bothered will figure out how to project at you in a very, what I call Hollywood monster kind of way. So they'll try to be as scary as possible in order to push you out of their area. I've had that happen to me. And it's gotten to the point now where when I walk in someplace, here's the trick, folks. If something is truly evil or scary or mean, it doesn't have to appear to you that way. It will come right at you and do what it needs to do, which is kind of what bothered me about Zach getting scratched so many times is whatever it was evading me seeing it unless it wanted me to. However, it was strong enough to attack him and leave physical marks on a human being. That's what, and enough to draw blood, which I've never seen in my years of doing this, but it did it, right? And it didn't have to show me that it was scary. It just was. But if something comes at you and it looks horrifying, it probably isn't that scary. It's probably just something that doesn't want you in its space. So I hope that that helps answer that. Go ahead, Kelsey.
Ah, thanks. The lady in the back with the red hair.
You.
Yeah, that's me. Thank you. So I had a spirit in my home once because I also spirits will come through to me. I don't know where I get them most of the time. And this is when I lived in California. I was I was I was laying in bed, and suddenly I just hear blood for blood. I'm like, okay, we're real romantic, buddy. And of course, I did not take that spirit seriously because any spirit that feels the need to come through and be like, oh, blood for blood. He, like, when I did my reading on him, he was trying, like, everyone on my live stream was like, he's a demon. I see a demon. And I'm like, no, all I see is gray mist. And that's
Mhm.
because he's trying really hard to change his appearance into being a demon. He
Yes.
was strong, and he like threatened to hurt my cat, unalive my cat. So of course I was like, all right, buddy, you're gone. But
Yeah.
he was basically saying his uncle sent him, like, is the reason he went to prison, and he died in prison, and he wanted me to hurt his uncle. And I'm like, that's not how this works.
Well, that's what the term blood for blood means.
Yeah.
That is exactly what that means. Like revenge, baby. Let's go. So he was trying to implement you in his crooked, ill thought out plan.
And if I didn't, he would unalive my cat. So I was like, you're gone, you're done. So I booted him out. I did this whole big cleansing with the help of like another mutual on TikTok. And then I was sick for like 2.5 weeks after, like
Uh,
really, really, really sick.
he was really trying to drain you. Now, I see Lovebug202 here says, I've seen a young man and heard a woman call for my dog when no one was home. That's random and out of nowhere. Nothing like that had happened before. So sometimes we have spirits that are transient, and a lot of people think about hauntings like it belongs to the walls of the house or the structure, but that's simply not true. Sometimes spirits just wander through, just like, a stranger wandering into your house. You wouldn't want them there. They're an intruder. But of course, they're not visible to you, so they're just going to come through. And what better way to get your attention than call for your animal? That would get my attention, especially if something was calling to my children or a dog that I may have owned. I'm going to pay attention. But once you didn't really be able to communicate with them, they probably just moved on. That is something, and the way that I figure that out is that I've been to homes that claimed that they had hauntings, and the one that really sticks out in my head was these folks did have something happening in their basement, but I was up in their living room, and I was sitting and the family was listening to me, and a woman wandered through the wall, and she looked at me, and she was dressed in white, and she had like a chemotherapy drip bag with her, and she was very jaunt, and she told me that she passed from cancer, and I believe her name was Linda or something to that effect. And they were like, Scott, that's our neighbor. She just passed away about 4 or 5 months ago. And I said, okay. So she wandered in from next door, and she wants you to let her family know that she's okay. And with that, she was gone. So don't really think about the spirits being confined to the walls of a home or a structure. Many times they'll come in and visit, or they're just wandering the land, and they'll stop by and say hello and be on their way.
Scotty, I'm gonna come guest into your live so I can see the questions.
Oh, you can't see him? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Oh, and where did Haunted Detective go? So what's up, everybody? My name is Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic. I'm hanging out with you today. I have Haunted Detective. She'll be joining us again here in a moment. I'll hit this button, I guess, if this is how it works. Hold on, Haunted Detective. I see you. Invited Haunted Detective go live. I'm hitting the invite button. It's a movie, though, if I can. Nope, I can't.
I think you can turn it split screen or like change the orientation or something with this.
I don't know. I'm bad at doing the live stuff unless it's just me running my mouth. Everybody here knows that. So let's see. So, yeah, if you have questions there, ask them, and Haunted Detective will be happy to answer you as well. Oh, where'd she go? She disappeared. Once I was acting like a wolf, I get really aggressive in my family. You might want to go, and I'm not saying this to be mean, you may want to just go get evaluated, like a psychological evaluation, because no spirit or ghost is going to be able to do that to you, especially for a long period of time. You might become upset, aggravated, upset, or whatever uh, from something being around for a little bit, but for real, like nothing is going to affect you that much. For that long. So definitely, if you're having those sorts of things, definitely go get evaluated. And that's me being very sincere and genuine. Like, don't think that that's a ghost.
I'm back. And I've been having technological issues since Goatman's Bridge, by the way.
Really? So maybe he's stuck around with you.
See, the thing with Goatman's Bridge is there is no Goatman. There's a shadow. There's a time loop and imprint on the bridge. And it happened completely different than people say it did. It happened off the top of the bridge, and it was like a whole, triple K ritual.
Uh-huh.
There is a triple K member in the woods surrounding, and some bodies buried. I'm like 90% convinced that if you brought a cadaver dog out there, you would find something. But when we were walking around, we joined another group, and there was someone walking in the woods. Like there were heel to toe heavy footsteps, and every time someone went into the woods to check it out, no one was there. And so my grid flashlight died, but it was still on. The green light was on, but it was dead. And then Liz's spirit box was scanning frequencies, but you couldn't hear anything out of it. My EVP died, and then I think someone else's some other equipment died as well, and Liz's SD card for her camera that came with her camera wasn't working in either of our devices. So we were having like weird stuff ever since the bridge.
Wow. That's crazy. Like it's normal for like one or two things to have a problem. But again, if anybody watched that thing that I was on with the Paranormal Files or Exploring with Josh at Penhurst, the camera kept glitching in really big ways. Like I actually text him separately and I was like, "Did you add effects? Because this is really strange." And he's like, "No." And that night when we were recording, there was a lot of problems with the camera. And then when he played it back, it was all like a bunch of corrupted files. It was all out of whack. So I don't know why the paranormal was able to do that, but they seem
I,
to certainly be able to manipulate electronics that way.
so there was a video on the Jefferson Hotel's YouTube. They post stuff that happens on their security footage or that guests send them. And there's
Hmm.
one you can see literally like a glitch. It gets pixelated and it moves. And the same thing happened in my doll video.
That's yeah, that so I mean, there must be something about the EMF, right? The electromagnetic frequency that comes through because we know that when the memory card is writing, it's probably doing it through an electronic like tapping or something. I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but I figure it works something like that. So even while we were having while we were having the K2 spikes and the REM pods and all that stuff happen, my camera was picking up strange sounds as well. I don't think the video got corrupted, but the noise was. Um, Shanley Hotel is watching, so that's Kelly from the Shanley Hotel, and she reminded me to say that before I started the investigation or doing the gallery reading, I laid down in the gentleman's quarters and I put my headphones on and a blindfold, and I just played music so that I can meditate and get into the ability to do my readings. And while I'm doing that, this man with an Irish accent kept coming up to my ear and he kept saying, "We're going to have a problem here tonight. We're going to have a problem here tonight." And then while that happened, something pressed down on my legs while I'm laying in the bed, so much so that I pulled my blindfold up to look and there was nobody there. And then from that point on in the night, it just started to explode in the entire hotel. All kinds of things were going on. So,
That
um,
similar energy to the I'm working ghost from
yes,
the Jefferson. You know what's interesting too is the owner told me that when he was renovating the hotel and went into the attic, he found a tiny little room with a tiny little door, like child-sized door, and it was a disappointment room because in the 1800s the owner of the building had a child with disabilities and they literally the child lived in that room.
I think what was that movie? The Boy in the Wall. Spoiler alert. The Boy in the Walls, I think it was called or
Uh,
something. Man, that's crazy. Fluffy kittens. I really gotta tell you, I think that you should go seek medical treatment before you think it's paranormal.
yeah.
Haunted
I
detectives does the same thing.
I would happen to agree. I mean, different, not saying that you have a problem because, it's really hard sometimes as someone who like struggles with mental health stuff too and PTSD. It can be PTSD, it can be bipolar, it can be a whole slew of things, and you want to protect yourself and your mental health and your family first and foremost before you look into other options. So, there's in science, there's no such thing as proving something, there's only disproving something. So first go and like disprove that it's something mentally challenging going on.
That's what I did. I took three psychological exams before I was like, they were like, you're not crazy. So whatever else is happening is happening. So that's when I decided that the mediumship was real because three different psych exams and big ones can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Um, did you do something with zip ties? Somebody, I don't know if this is you or somebody that's coming through. It's talking to me about zip tying things, which is strange. I don't have a pen and paper here.
No.
Okay. So there's this gentleman who's coming through, and I want to say his name is like Bobby, I think, or he's talking about a Bobby, and he has all these zip ties, and he keeps zip tying things. And it seems to be his like it's either a joke or something he did all the time. Zip,
I
zip,
see.
zip.
They are they white zip ties that you're seeing, like the clear ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is he wearing glasses?
I don't know. I'm looking right at his hands with the zip ties. Um, Morgs 325 says that she was just saying that she needed to buy some for skeletons. It's weird. Do you have anybody named Bobby or Robert that passed away that would want to come through and talk there, Morgs? It's very specific to talk about it. Somebody was asking you a question here
I,
about past lives.
Wolf person was a troll, by the way. I think they were trying, my gut feeling is they were screen recording and trying to get you to say something like, "Oh, you're probably a werewolf," to like disprove your mediumship stuff.
Oh, nah, yeah. Listen, I know what mental health problems look like, and if you're a troll trying to trip me up, you have a problem because I'm always going to go with the non-paranormal explanation before the paranormal one.
I try to debunk everything. That's why I had a long conversation with the owner of the hotel about the doll.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean that's the only way to do it. You have to. So yeah, so I don't know what this guy Robert or Bobby just keeps, and it's funny. I don't know why, but he keeps putting him on his finger. He's like zip tying. He's like zip, and he put it on the tip of his finger for some reason. Visiting Buffalo, and I believe there is a spirit in my rented room. That's interesting because I had a very haunted experience in Buffalo. You know what's funny is I have the room keys right here. It just fell off my table like I don't know, yesterday. Here, the
Mo-
Millennium Buffalo Hotel, room 512. Very paranormal experience there.
Montana, no one thinks you're a troll. We might not just have. There are a lot of messages, like a lot of comments coming through, so we might
Yeah.
not have a comment.
Ghost kisses. I'm not sure what that means. I will tell you what I think it means is when you feel like a little bit of a tickle on your face. Sometimes when I'm not in mediumship mode or I'm not like thinking about it, I'll feel those slight brushes, and that's just a symbol for me to let me know that I'm supposed to be like tuning in or listening. The last time it happened, for all of you who don't know, I have a regular job. I'm in law enforcement, and I was on my way somewhere, and I kept feeling a tickle on my face, and then I saw a little boy. And when I got to the location, there was a woman who was a spirit who greeted me at the front door, and she was just like, "My little boy's in trouble." And when I got inside for the call, sure enough, there's an 8-year-old little boy who was having some sort of anaphylactic shock. So that was the call. And I think Grandma was there trying to protect him, and she was trying to give me a little like, "Hurry the heck up, guy, let's go." So that's interesting. So it happens often when I'm asleep. Yeah, so that means that when you're asleep, you're most susceptible to the paranormal coming to talk to you, spirits, and all that kind of stuff because your brain is in a resting mode, meditation basically, and you're in the dark, so all of your other senses are nice and heightened, and you're relaxed, and that's when that stuff happens. I see somebody asking me about missing person. I'm working on two right now. The one Dina McCann, who's very publicly I'm working on, and another one, a young lady who went missing in British Columbia, Canada. I've just been kind of guiding the family as best I can from here. So only a little bit at a time. I apologize. I know there's a lot of you who want me to help you with that, but I just don't have the time in my life.
I
And I
have.
don't mean to say that like a jerk.
I'm writing an outline for a podcast episode for a different podcast, which I can't talk about because no one knows anything. No one
Yeah,
knows.
that's right. But follow Haunted Detective though if you like true crime stuff. Just saying.
Did someone follow me home?
We'll talk about that in a second, but I see something important here. Small town mommy says my grandpa used to fix everything with zip ties and duct tape. We called him Grandpa Bobby. So there's the name and the zip ties. And it was supposed to be something that would stand out. So that's probably your grandfather, then I would say. Unfortunately, he's not showing me what he looks like, but it was really important that he mentioned the zip ties were really important, like almost like, oh, he fixed like he used zip ties on everything, right? Like that silly movie where the grandpa would spray everything with Windex. It was sort of like that kind of joke. Um, do you know that if he had like a mass in did he have a mass grow in his chest or his stomach area there, small town Tommy? As soon as I started talking about him, I felt like I had a mass or something bad growing right here in my stomach cavity, and he's making me feel like there was something that's why he passed,
Did
maybe
he?
some sort of cancer or something.
Did he wear glasses?
Cancer.
And he would like have prescription sunglasses too that he would sometimes wear inside.
Ooh, we'll see. We're gonna sharpen you up. Dave says, "Who's the best medium you've ever met and seen on another level?" Amy Allen. Yes, he did. So you're picking up on Grandpa Bobby too. High five. Bam. So just to let you know, Grandpa Bobby's hanging out with us, and he says hello. He's doing well on the other side and free of pain. And I like that he picked up on his sunglasses. That was pretty amazing.
Because I kept seeing glasses, sunglasses, and then he was wearing the sunglasses inside. So I was like, okay, they must be prescription sunglasses that he would wear inside because he forgot his regular glasses or something like that. Okay, wait. Question.
Go ahead.
There is something in my apartment, and I keep forgetting to tell you that. So these paintings I have hung up, they were stacked against the wall right here,
You're welcome, small
like
town.
at the foot of my bed. And one night they just go boom, 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 and they all fell over like dominoes. And I'm like, if like the big one fell over, it would just be like a boom, or if they slid, it would be a sliding. Like it doesn't make sense. And last night I felt someone like go like kind of push my bed, and then I woke up in the middle of the night to a cat meowing, but my cat was all the way over there, and I heard it right in my ear.
Oh my gosh. So one thing that happened while we were on the phone, well, like this, is that I don't know how to explain this, but you know when you open up the windows weird in the car and your ears kind of pulsate? That ever happened to you? It's like
Yeah.
whoop 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 whoop. That was happening to me, which means to me as a medium on that level is that there's a lot of people trying to talk and they're coming from every side. So you've moved into a new space, and just like I was talking about earlier with the transient spirits, you're very open, and now you're very actively investigating the paranormal. So these things are coming in, and the pressure is going to change, just like somebody, Foxy Fly Girl says it. Um, the pressure is going to change. You're going to feel the atmosphere move, and you're going to have these pressure changes. And that will probably be your biggest signal for you to take a breath, tune in, and see who's there so you can communicate with them.
I just don't want it at night. Like I don't like it at night. That's my
So
only.
for all the folks, including you, my friend, for anybody, because growing up, I had that a lot. I say this all the time. I slept with a nightlight on until I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I've always been a big dude, so I should not have been afraid of anything. But you know what? Nobody understands when ghosts are talking to you in the middle of the night. That's scary as shit, especially as a kid. So as I got older, I realized that the light wasn't going to keep them away forever. And what we needed to do was come up with a way to let them know, like, now's inappropriate. Don't talk to me now. So for everybody who needs a little bit of a method, what you can do is just close your eyes and picture one of those sorry we're closed signs on the front of a business. And I want you to think about that in your head and think about putting it up in front of the window and it says, sorry, we're closed. Before you go to bed, put that up. And when you're ready to make spirit contact or to talk to them, flip it over and it says, come on in, we're open. Let them know. And this is your boundary. And 99.9% of them are going to obey that. They're going to listen because they want you to listen clearly when you're ready. Think about it at nighttime when you're ignoring them. They're just getting frustrated, knocking over your paintings, making noises, trying to get your attention. Just like the young lady who said that her animal was being called to by a spirit, you heard a cat being mimicked because, oh, I know how to get her attention. I'm going to sound like her cat. So that's ineffective for them because you're not ready to listen. You don't want to hear it. And that goes for everybody who's paying attention. So if you get that oftentimes at night, make sure that you put up that I'm sorry, we're closed sign. And then when you're ready, come on in, we're open. Flip the sign over and say, like, I'm ready for you now. Come on in. And that should help set the boundary. You have to keep doing it though. Go ahead, young lady
Oh,
in the back.
thank you. So my name's Kelsey. Anyway, sorry. Who's in here right now? There's someone in here right now, and this is like the one that's been trying to get my attention.
Let's see.
It's a feminine energy,
Yeah,
but
hold on. Don't say anything else. So she's doing horror movie vibes, but not on purpose to scare me, but in order to show me something. She's brought me down. She appears to be some sort of either accident victim or something more sinister. She has a lot of. She's interesting. She's probably about 30 years old. She has long blonde hair. It's very straggly. She's very pale and slight in nature. She is kind of standing there, not saying much, but she's showing me a very open and big wound to the right side of her abdomen. There's a lot of graphic detail there. It's very bloody. Uh, I don't want to say, obviously you're in Texas, so I don't want to say this is like a shark attack, but if you can imagine that kind of injury to somebody's torso, that's basically what I would say. So it might have been some very large motor vehicle accident that happened, or some other sort of horrific accident that would have taken a chunk of her body with her. She's very clearly showing me that she's laying down somewhere outside. It looks like a sidewalk or a street, and there's a lot of fluid coming out of her body. Unfortunately, she lifted off of there. Um, and seems like she um out around your where you lived without telling anybody where you live. um are there signs with like cactuses on it or something? Is there like you I want you to take a look around where you live in the streets and see if there's like a big, you see my daughter's popping up, see if
Yeah.
there's like a big sign with a cactus on it. She's pointing at it and she's like, I'm around here, this is where I'm from, and it's very close proximity to where you are right now. And she may have a name like Grace or Gail, something very strong with a G. Hi, Lex.
Okay, on that note, I have to get back to work because I'm getting messages from my coworkers, but thank
That's
you. I
perfect
appreciate it.
because it's very important that I didn't scare you. Did you really have to go?
No, no, I really do. I was
Okay.
gonna say that the spirit popped in, and I was like, oh, oh, I just saw her.
Yeah.
More like blur. It's getting my stuff is getting stronger.
And it will. The more we do this, the better. All right.
All
Hi,
right,
Lex.
bye.
She's adorable. See you later, Kels. That was the haunted. She has a podcast coming out. We can't talk about it yet, but if you want to know about it and you like true crime and paranormal, make sure you go and follow her at The Haunted Detective. Anybody's asking how you get a reading, basically, I just hang out and I let them come in. However, um, if you've been following along in my saga of the last couple weeks, my refrigerator broke. And we finally got a reimbursement through our warranty, and we have to go refrigerator shopping, so nothing spooky, unfortunately. So I like this question right here. I'll answer a couple more. Audrey says, "How do I use my ability to my benefit?" So basically, the way that you use it to your benefit is to benefit everybody else around you, and then it will benefit you on the way back. So there's nothing that I do for me personally. So when people ask me if I do readings for myself, no. Do I talk to my loved ones for myself? No. The way that it benefits me is when I reach out to you and I do these lives, and people they see what I can do, and I do it live in front of many people every day, and they understand that my abilities are real, they're authentic, and then they want to book me for readings. So me helping you helps me. It's never me first, and that's the way that you should do everything in life. If you do things for other people, the good stuff will come back to you, and I think that's a pretty big message in life. Universal karma, right? Melissa says, "Really, you don't talk to loved ones if they're your own? If they come and visit me, but I don't go looking for them. Many people who come to me for readings, they need a little closure. I have all the closure I need. I believe in the other side. I believe in heaven. I believe in this big theory of love on the other side. It's all good. I don't need anything. If I died right now, I'd be okay. And I know that my loved ones are okay. But many people just need reassurance, and I have a tool in here that helps me do that for you. So that's really special. So my 16-year-old had a car accident, and now she said she sees spirits. Is that normal? Yeah. So a lot of people who experience high amounts of trauma or a big a jolt of trauma, sometimes they open up a part of their brain that they would be closed off to normally, and they are able to tap into the other side. So yeah, I think that's normal. Of course, I always say make sure that you get her tested, bring her to a psychologist, and let them ask her good questions to make sure that she's not experiencing any other kind of PTSD or other kind of stress or trauma. Okay. Um, not no turf. I can't say your name. That's a good one though. I don't see spirit. I feel spirit. So if you feel spirit, that's good. That's clairescence, and it is just basically the feeling of them being around, and you can gather a lot of information that way as well. I'm clairvoyant, which means I see them. Then I'm clairaudient, which means I hear them, and then I'm clairsentient, which means I know they're around. And then my clairescence is just that feeling of knowing, and their clairgustance is smell and taste. So that's how mine work. Yeah. My daughter said a lot of people are giving you hearts. Can you develop the ability and open it up on your own? Yes. Anybody who's interested in taking a class with me, there'll be one posted up very soon. I do it via Zoom. It's usually $40 in 2.5 hours. I teach you all of the tips and techniques that I know how to use to connect. My daughter's not involved. It usually happens around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I put a link up so that you know that it's available, and I'll let you know when. Okay, so if you're interested in learning, it's very easy. It's a one-time shot, and it's very plain language to help you learn. So Vicky's stop likes. I made myself ignore it for years, but it's getting stronger now. Yep, and that will happen. It's like a floodgate. It can only hold it for so long, and then it's going to have to break. So controlling it is better than just keeping it in the background. Curious, do you know what it's called about seeing people in people time before it happens? Um, Psychic premonition. Yeah, you're seeing the future a little bit. Can you turn it off? Yep, I was just explaining that to Kelsey earlier. Is that if you want to turn it off, if you can picture a do not disturb sign, like on your phone, maybe put up do not disturb. I'm not interested in hearing from you right now, but eventually you have to turn it around and acknowledge them and then tell them to go away. Has my daughter shown having abilities? Every once in a while, she talks about seeing a pink ghost, but that hasn't been for a while. When I hear them, is it in their voice? Oftentimes it is, yes. I'll hear it inside my head, and they'll talk about if they have a very specific voice. So say like Sam Elliott, the guy who always plays a cowboy on TV, and he has that real deep voice, and he talks like real low. Like if that guy were to come through to me, he would make sure to make me understand that he had a super low baritone voice and to use it, so that the person I was reading for would know that I was speaking to their loved one. So that's really important. So anybody who's interested in this stuff, do me a favor. We hit over 200,000 likes, by the way. So thanks everybody. 200,000 follows. So if you want to follow me for more, please do that. Everybody who's a part of my SGC, that's a subscriber group. You guys did such a fantastic job that TikTok has sent me a showcase. So September 28th, I will be live for 3 hours from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be doing readings, talking about ghosts, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to have a whole thing planned out for everybody. Then, if anybody who here is into spooky stuff, before I get going, do you like spooky stories and ghosts and those sorts of things? We just got the announcement that September 30th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Discovery Plus streaming service and Travel Channel is going to be premiering my episode of Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pets, which is a paranormal case that I was involved in here in New Jersey. They filmed it, we told the story, and Eli Roth is a horror movie producer and director, so he makes the show for Discovery Plus and Travel Channel. I've already got a little sneak peek of it. It's very scary looking. So if you're into those kinds of things, you watch Discovery Plus and Travel Channel for scary stuff, please check me out there. It should be really neat and a lot of fun to see. Stop. I just saw my first spirit the other day after you did a reading for me on your last live. It wasn't a dream. Oh my gosh. How'd that make you feel? Were you okay? Did I open up your mind a little bit when we did the reading? Oh, there's Morgs with the SGC, and she's using my alien. Mystic's using my little spirit. What do you call hearing voices that wake you? That's clair audience. That's when they speak to you kind of in your head. Bed shakes is pretty normal when ghosts are trying to get you. The live will be September 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on a TikTok showcase. You guys did such a great job of promoting me that TikTok said, hey, we're going to give you a spotlight because you did such a great job. So thanks. I tried to get to your YouTube channel, but I couldn't find it. Just look up Scotty the Medium, and it'll come right up. Somebody asked me if their life is going to get better. I pulled this out for you. The Four of Wands. It means that you're slowly going to be rebuilding, and it's important to start with a strong foundation to get there. So yeah, life is going to become more stable for you soon. Make sure that the people in your life too are willing to rebuild in a meaningful way. that makes you happy as well. Because a strong foundation for everything is the most important. Thanks. When you're communicating, do you speak out loud to them? I do a lot of times. People are afraid to speak out loud to spirit because it makes you look weird speaking to thin air. You can think it, but for me, the words mean a lot. So when I will say like, "Hey, I'm Scott. I'm a medium and a psychic. For anybody on the other side, I'm looking to speak with you. And if you'd like to come through and talk, please do that." And they'll just come right on through, and they'll talk, and it lets you know that I'm talking to them as well. Oh, thanks for the cowboy hat, partner. Um, it looked like steam or heat coming off the ground, but like an octopus shape. Yeah, so I've witnessed that too. I was just talking about a paranormal experience that I had at the Millennium Buffalo Hotel in Buffalo, New York, where I woke up and I saw on the bed next to me like this. I thought it looked like a fish tank. It was this weird gray, um, floaty liquid above the bed, and it looked like if you were looking into an aquarium and the water was wavy. It was very strange. So I see a lot of people ask me a lot of questions. Unfortunately, I have to. It was your Aunt Kim, the same person who came through in the live. So she wanted to say hello. So you got opened up to her, and she was able to come and say hi. I hope it was a good, positive experience for you. Anyway, I have to get going. I have to go refrigerator shopping. So please do me a favor, follow, like, subscribe, all those things, and I will see you so soon. Um, and we will do more live readings tomorrow. I'll be back, and we'll do some more. If you're a part of the SGC chats will be turned on tomorrow. So you got to be a subscriber in order to be a part of the chat. Okay. Have a great day. Excuse me. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to see this replay, it'll be on my YouTube channel by tomorrow under TikTok Talk, episode 16, I believe. Okay. Have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.